Welcome back to the Cinema Sessions. My name is Keith, and as always, I'm joined by
Seamus. Hello.
Today we're talking about a film that asks one simple question in the mid-90s. What if loneliness was a villain and it came with free cable? This is The Cable Guy, a comedy that turned pitch black, tanked expectations, split audiences clean in two, and somehow predicted parasocial relationships, media addiction, and the terror of a man who won't stop calling. I'd choose the bear too in this case. Jim Carrey at his most uncomfortable, Matthew Broderick at his most bitter, and the film that dares you to laugh while quietly judging you for it. This isn't a feel-good comedy, it's a warning. And tonight, we're plugging in.
Well said.
Now.
Yeah, it's... hang on. Here we go. We're watching a DVD this time, kids, and I fucking pressed play so many times it paused itself again. There we go.
No.
Yeah, I was alive and aware of things when this film came out, I would say. So I was 12 when this came out.
I was 4.
When I tell you Jim Carrey was the fucking man when this came out, like I remember he had quite a year. It was 93, I think, and he had Ace Ventura, which I heard nothing about till I saw the VHS in my mate's house. I was like, what is this? This is fucking the most amazing thing. Saw Dumb and Dumber in the cinema again, thought that was amazing. And then The Mask, I remember, was the first film that ever cost me £2 to rent. I remember thinking, geez, they've hiked up the fucking prices on this. I remember going into Extravision and you could rent it for £2. Pounds, folks. I'm not misspeaking. This is before the change to the euro.
The Irish punt.
Yeah, and then he was in Batman Forever.
Yes, yeah.
He just had...
It was some right. It was a run. Like it was a great run. And I suppose... I mean, like, you were 12, I was 4 when this came out, so I would have seen this long after the fact, but this was such a big film for me when I was younger. I swear to God, I must... But see, the funny thing about this is, I must have seen this film 50 times, no word of a lie. I ran the VHS into the ground that I had it on, like to the point where the plastic was broken, it wouldn't open and close anymore, right?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it in 15, 20 years. That's the gas thing, like, do you know what I mean?
You know what's funny is I was saying to you, I actually have, this is the VHS that I don't think I've ever watched it, at least not all the way through, and it wasn't on that VHS.
And kids,
tape.
this is a recording from telly, I believe.
Yeah.
So this isn't an official VHS.
From the premiere on Sky Screen #1, which was when that came out. That's my brother's writing, which he, for some reason, used red pen for some of the letters. I don't know.
He wanted to be cool and artistic.
He's a bit like that, yeah. But I remember this just being, to people at our age, like another Jim Carrey movie. I remember a friend of mine telling me he saw it, and I remember he specifically thought the bit where he bursts in on Matthew Broderick and the professional woman.
Yes.
And like, I remember him miming he comes in with like a camera and he's like, and he just thought it was the funniest thing. And we just talked about it like it was another Jim Carrey film. And
it was very much not taken up that way by the vast majority. Like, it was very much going against his character rather than embracing it. Well,
what's funny is it's such a typical Carey performance in a lot of ways. It's just it is to different ends.
It's
like
just darker.
He's antagonistic in it and it's darker, but he's doing
the same shit.
Essentially the same thing. And if you just don't worry about like that stuff, I mean, it is a brilliant Jim Carrey of the era, you know, kind of comic performance.
Yeah, I'll kind of flesh this out more as we continue through the film, but like, what context do you watch this in? And what I mean by that is, like, do you take it's a comedy, it's a black comedy, or what way? I've always, especially now that I've gone back to it, I always saw it as a comedy. I didn't see it as a black comedy. I didn't know what a black comedy was when I was watching it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just saw it, he's doing funny stuff with his face, and do you know what I mean? Because I would have been really young seeing it. The context I've always seen it in, especially, or no, not always seen it in, but since we've returned to it for the podcast, right? This is a character study on male loneliness and different, like, do you know what I mean? It's very relevant in 2026. Maybe more so than it was in 96. Like, do you know what I mean?
I have to be honest, I just take it as basically a comedy with an interesting character in it. And what I reacted to this time was him as someone who learned how to be who acts like how he sees on TV, which is something Carey does very well. He did in Me, Myself and Irene, where he's playing the kind of alpha male character. It's another guy who just, you know, he watched Clint Eastwood movies and think that's how you be a man, and he thinks this is how you behave. He I'll go into it a bit more later, but I think it's one of the reasons he's Jim Carrey, and there's other people who kind of do similar things that flops horribly. But before we maybe get into it, I'll do my usual thing here, just in case anyone's uninitiated. The Cable Guy is a dark comedy film from 1996, directed by Ben Stiller and written by Lou Holtz Jr. with a lot of work by Judd Apatow, apparently. Starring Jim Carrey, Matthew Broderick, Leslie Mann and Jack Black, the film centres on Stephen Kovacs, a mild-mannered architect who befriends his overly intense cable installer who calls himself Chip Douglas. What begins as an awkward friendliness quickly turns into psychological harassment as Chip's need for connection spirals into obsession, blurring the line between friendship and menace. The film has a 6.1 rating on IMDb with a Metacritic critic score of 56% and a user score of 7. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a critic score of 57% and an audience score of 51%. Quite a difference in the audience scores there. The film grossed approximately 102.8 million worldwide against a budget of around 47 million. And on a personal note, folks, like, well, what are you doing after the podcast? You want to maybe grab a coffee or anything? Yeah. No, like I'm busy. You know, like if it's you're interested to it, you know, like, think about it. Yeah. So the film was actually, contrary to its reputation, not a flop. It was just not Ace Ventura. We did leave out Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, which is not very good. I got to be honest. But like he was fucking.
He was still on, but still,
yeah,
like it still
blockbuster
did
after blockbuster.
Yeah, but Ace Ventura still did. Whether it's a good film or not, the second one is still massive numbers.
Massive
like,
hit, yeah. And then I think he followed this up. He played it safer with Liar Liar. I want to say, which was a safer kind of.
I think the problem with this and the reason why its reputation precedes it in terms of it being like not as well received or anything like that is because it's completely in the content. It's not so much his character is completely different to what he's played in previous or in future. It's the whole tone of the film. Like we watched the trailer for this film just before we started, and tonally it's completely wrong. Like, do you know what I mean? Even the voiceover, because I mean, obviously that typical '90s voiceover, like of one man, like that type of stuff.
Yes,
but it's all very kind of positive, which is not the tone of the film whatsoever.
No, it is. Well, it's not. I remember actually the first time I saw the Truman Show and not quite knowing what to make of it because I was like, is this a Jim Carrey film or not? And I funny enough, I had the same thing with the Christmas Carol when he did. Because that I was like, this is going to be Jim Carrey is Scrooge. And it's all crazy. And that film, and especially, they're not that at all. So I can see that kind of being... But like, if you're paying for a Carey performance, the film does deliver. But as I say, it's to different ends. But I, as I say, at the time, we just took it as, hey, it's Jim Carrey doing his thing. He's funny, like the way he moves and the way he says things. Like it's, I just take it as a Jim Carrey film with a slightly different kind of a vibe to it. I think, and I don't know that I wouldn't say it's a criticism of the film, but there is an aspect of it that I think when it became a Jim Carrey thing, that the shift in point of view of how the film's directed, maybe for what they were going for, hurts it a bit, but I'll go into that. I don't think that it hurts it, but I think it turned into a Jim Carrey thing as opposed to what people accuse it of being, which is a disturbing stalker film that airs a comedy, which I don't see it that way. But as I say, I'm curious now to hear what you make of some of the kind of social commentary.
I think it's fucking. I think it's way ahead of its time. Like, do you know what I mean? And I suppose we'll get into it as we flesh it out. Like, so the film opens and it's Stephen Kovacs having moved into an apartment and he's flicking through his cable and realises that he has all grainy.
Yeah, it's that old analog kind of fuzziness. Yeah, into an absolutely insanely fucking massive apartment.
Yes. Like that's not when usually you like a relationship falls apart. One, the heart doesn't break even, as the script say.
Yeah.
And there's no way. Like he must have some. Like he's an architect, so maybe like
he must be making bank. Yeah. Although you got away with that in the night. Remember the apartments they lived in Friends and all this. You don't. I could be wrong now. You don't see that as much in movies. Because you couldn't.
Because everybody like younger millennials and then Gen Z know that they can't afford that. Like on the job that they're doing.
It is absolutely like he has a fucking party in the gaff in his room for like 15 people in there and all this. Like, good lord. Who cares? Like, he is an architect. He might be doing very well for himself.
So the film opens at a clip because I mean we're obviously introduced to the kind of main players, Matthew Broderick and Jim Carrey, very quick. Like, so he and also Jack Black makes an appearance.
Yes, a very young
Jack Black, and a very, I'd almost say, not playing Jack Black because Jack Black's one of them actors that fall. That I think since School of Rock, he kind of has played the same character in different
persona.
contexts. Like,
It comes through once or twice, the way he plays it. The bit where he goes, are you ready to rock? And I remember my brother loved that bit, and that's very Jack Black. But the rest of it, he just plays it like he's a regular dude, like, which is interesting to see him in the before time. As you say.
Before School of Rock.
Exactly, So I always... Again, I don't find it as darkly comedic as people say, because the first time they meet, it's not that awkward, if you know what I mean. Because like he says some stuff to him that in real life, Matthew Broderick would be very awkward, where he's like, well, I don't want to discuss that with you. No, but they don't play
the thing is, though, because I mean, I think obviously Chip Douglas, Jim Carrey's character, is definitely kind of like the antagonist of the piece. But when you look at it from a different context, like Matthew Broderick is as guilty for certain things as Jim Carrey is. So for Carrey, it's culture over connection. Do you know what I mean? It's media. He's grown up on media. He uses it in social contexts, and it's to not great well. Broderick is completely enmeshed and uses politeness over honesty. Do you know what I mean? It's
true, yeah.
It's completely like he's very uncomfortable. Still, I mightn't achieve what he's trying to by making it completely uncomfortable. But that's what he's getting at.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what lets him in, because he doesn't want to be rude to him. He's like, hey, want to hang out tomorrow? And he's like,
okay.
Tomorrow's no good. And then he pushes him on it, and that's where
he capitulates and he goes, I can't say no to this stranger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, which I think we're all a little guilty of. But
I do our fucking self.
Yeah. Well, actually, in that scene now, there's a bit, and it is so. I won't call it a critique, but I might say if I were someone who's, very like strict the rules of drama and all this, you could say there's an issue there. And Ben Stiller is a good director. I always think he should do like an actual just action film, because he's just a good director of.
I think he kind of did with Tropic Thunder.
He kind of did. When I watched it, I wasn't there like, geez, he'd nearly just do a straight action film. And he'd be very good at it. But there's a bit in this where, it is a classic Jim Carrey bit where he's like looking for where he should drill in the wall, and he's really milking it. And there's a great moment where he finds it, and the camera like dollies around him, and as he moves with it, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
But my issue is that is the camera working in concert with that character, as opposed to, I'm like, if you're going strictly by what the film is, I'm like, shouldn't it just purely be Matthew Broderick's point of view of what this lunatic is doing?
Yeah.
And I think the film does suffer a little bit, especially kind of towards the end, where it is like, hey, we got to show off this Jim Carrey guy. He's amazing, which is fine and makes the film work. But at the same time, I'm like, it is kind of supposed to be. I mean,
when you look at what he was paid for this $20 million comparatively to Broderick's $2 million, like it's like he needs as much screen time and as much leash as to do whatever he wants.
Oh, it makes complete sense, and like he is the reason anyone watches it. With all due respect to Matthew Broderick and everyone else in it, he's the fucking reason you're watching it.
I was reading in research for this, like apparently Broderick was up for the Riddler as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Can you imagine his? I think. Do you know what? I don't think that would have been awful.
Would have been interesting.
I think maybe in the context of that film, maybe you need the over the top of.
Yeah. I haven't watched that in ages, but I do remember. Like, well, the thing about Matthew Broderick is he was in that show, The Producers, on Broadway. Apparently, he is one of the most amazing comedy actors of live performance.
Yeah, like I mean, like if you look at him in the 80s, like there was no stopping Matthew Broderick. Like Ferris Bueller's Day Off is still probably my favourite film of all time.
Really?
Like, it's just holds such a special place in my heart.
Okay, I was a little too old, I think, when I saw it, so I like it now.
I was probably just the right age when I saw it.
Yeah, he's a straight man in this, absolutely, and he's very good at it. And when he needs to be there to carry a joke, he's good at it. But apparently, I can't remember how I know this, but I think he was on that Inside the Actors Studio. Now I know the guy on that fucking slobbers over everyone's fucking knob anyway, but he was saying, like, I remember looking into it, and he apparently is just amazing for like the react, like he's one of the best comedic performers on Broadway, like nearly ever. Do you know who else is a really good stage actress? Do you remember Billie Piper, the fucking pop star? She's like one of the most decorated stage actors in British history or something. Did you notice?
But she's also the new Doctor.
Yeah, is she?
Yeah.
Was she not the...
She was the assistant
in one of them.
Christopher Eccleston.
Jesus, right.
And now she's back as the Doctor.
Because I remember she was like when she came out, I was like fucking low key parasocially in love with her, and then I looked her up like 2-3 years ago, and I was like, what the fuck? She's apparently an absolutely amazing stage actress. No one outside of the UK or Ireland who's our age knows who we're fucking even talking about. But no, he shows it a bit now in this Broderick. Should we maybe mention that he killed someone here in Ireland in the 80s?
Yeah. So him and his wife.
I've mentioned it now. Yeah. Was
him and his
Jennifer
wife, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, it was Jesus. Yeah, it was Sarah Jessica.
So they have a house in Donegal and they frequent Ireland. Like they're over multiple times a year.
Though, or was he going out with someone else? I want to say it was your one from Dirty Dancing or something.
No, I'm not sure if it's Jennifer Grey now.
We're going to clip this and we'll get engagement because I'm so wrong.
No, I'm fairly sure it was Sarah Jessica Parker. Now, I could be wrong, but he was driving down a country road in Donegal. Yes. He was driving down a country road in Donegal and he ran someone over and drove off apparently.
Oh jeez!
As far as I know
there was something shady about it. Yeah, like he didn't.
He did own up. Yeah, he did own up to it, but he got a fright and he drove off rather than stop and see what he just hit. Like, do you know what I mean?
Jesus, yeah.
But puppy for the grace of God. Like, I mean, that happens to you. Like, we don't know what we do in that situation.
True,
we like to say, I'd stop and I'd
do X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
So that's out of the way.
Yeah. We got that throat clear now. Out of the way. Now, but he's good in this.
Yeah. But we should also mention, because there's a kind of subplot running throughout of the Sam Sweet trial. Throughout the entire thing.
I remember not knowing what to make it at the time.
When I remember this, now I watched it obviously, like I said, like this was a big film. I watched it 50 times 20 years ago. But I always remember that as some type of Menendez brother type thing. Like, do you know what I mean?
I think they were playing off of that, yeah.
I think that's possibly it. But it wasn't to say he murders his brother, not his mother and father. But this, having watched this and kind of understanding the context more now than I would have at the time. I wouldn't have understood what subplot was when I was watching this, or what narrative behind the narrative or anything is. Like, like you see when Carey's setting up Matthew Broderick's, he's watching the trial and he's like, I hope they fry this bad.
Yeah, the way he says that, he's like, ooh.
Yeah, but it's kind of what it's getting at, like, is it's the media. Do you know what I mean? It's media narratives. Like, as soon as the media, because if you look at all the context of how all the clips are throughout the film it's all the media reporting it as if he's already guilty. Do you know what I mean? And
that is very funny, that subplot. Yeah, but satire,
because it's getting at, well, whatever the media says is what the media, what the people will believe. Like Jim Carrey, who knows nothing of this man or anything, he's like, I hope they fry him. It's like, there's still an active trial going on, but nobody knows anything. Now, I mean, it is poked fun at and all throughout, but I just found that subplot so much more intriguing this time and interesting, because it's something that would have passed me by when I was younger.
Well, I remember thinking when I first watched it, I thought he's going to turn out to like be the brother. So I was like, why are they keep showing this? And the reason, I actually think the climax of this now, I don't dislike it, but it is kind of stock. And that's the most interesting element, is it, when they tie up that subplot, basically. I thought that was very clever.
Because like, it's crime as daytime TV, and it's like, we don't want justice, we want drama. Do you know what I mean? It's all
the Eric Roberts thing is...
Yeah.
How the fuck do you approach Eric Roberts and be like, you're...
Do you know Eric Roberts has the most credits or something like that?
That wouldn't surprise me.
He had something, I think it might have been 2024 or 2025, right? But apparently he was a big cokehead, which is why he's not a much more... For anybody who doesn't know, Eric Roberts is brother to Julia
Roberts,
and he has a famous, and he's uncle or father to Emma Roberts.
She's Emily in Paris, is she?
No, Scream.
Who's the one of them? I
don't know, it doesn't matter.
I know Julia Roberts' niece or whatever is working in the industry.
Yeah, and that's, but so she's in Scream, she had her own show on Nickelodeon, but that's Eric Roberts' her father.
Right.
And this fella, for all intents and purposes, was going to be massive. But unfortunately, a massive cocaine addiction hindered that. But so now, to keep himself sober, he will work. If you contact Eric Roberts and he's in the area, he will be in your project. He'll do it for basically nothing.
Why not?
I believe in 2024 or 2025. Now, this could be way off, but I heard this recently. He has like 325 credits or something. Acting.
That'll do it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
325 to 365 days in a year. Do you know what I mean?
Fair play to him. No, I remember once I was in Portugal and I went into a little shop down by the beach there, and why I didn't buy them, I don't know. They had a little basket full of key rings. Must have been from the 80s, and one of them was an Eric Roberts one, and another one was, do you remember that show Renegade about the bounty hunter on the fucking big chopper motorbike?
No.
they had a fucking key ring of him and Eric Roberts that must have been sitting there for 40 years or something. Like, why I didn't buy them, I don't know, but he was a key ring to someone back in the day, Eric Roberts. So where did we leave? So, oh geez, we didn't even really get past the introduction scene. Again, just, this is what I mean now about Carey, just the thing. I remember even at the time as a young fella going, there's no way you could write down that bit where he says, I'm kind of a perfectionist. Perfectionist. And I was like, there's no way someone sat down and thought of that and wrote it. He had to have come up with that. Just in terms of like how creative he is, and he'll always, there's a behind the scenes of this, and you can see like it must be a little bit difficult working with him because he seems to just come up with a million ideas. And you're just like, oh yeah, maybe like, not that, and he's so powerful. Like,
I was reading, still I basically saw like 3 versions of each kind of scene. So he did a really comedic one where Jim Carrey was being Jim Carrey, and it was shot in a certain way. Then he shot one where it was completely dark, where Carrey was doing what he wanted, but it was he was told more aggressive, more antagonistic. And then he shot one that was kind of just played flat. You know what I mean? Now, as far as I know, he basically took his choice. There's no intercutting between each kind of version. You know what I mean? But it does. The one thing I would say is because it does have a nice flow to it in terms of, because
it's consistent.
Yeah. And it's just, I think it's really well done, and you can just tell that there was thought put into each kind of scene, even if it falls flat at times. Like there was definitely thought put into when do we want to heighten the, oh my god, who is this guy? When do we want to feel sorry for him? Like there was real kind of, there's proper direction put into it. Like, do you know what I mean?
No, he's a good director now. But what's he done recently? What was the last?
Severance is the most recent thing.
Oh, is he doing? I remember Secret Life of Walter Mitty is pretty good.
I haven't seen it.
Jeez, that's the last. I've been out of game now, but no, he's a very good director. Like he put the behind the scenes on Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Like he puts in a ton of effort. Like they had the behind the scenes. Like he was doing camera tests and like, you know, matching the clothes to the background, the backdrops and all this. He's a good, thoughtful director. Like it's funny seeing him behind the scenes. He's like, you know, mid-90s leather jacket man. You know, he was very kind of edgy, I think, back then. But he came through on this one.
So I mean, we basically what happens then after the intro scene is, we kind of touched on it, but he's invited to go and see the big satellite dish.
Yeah, we see him at work, and his boss is a bit of an arsehole, but Carey just shows up, and he kind of socially just feels like the need to go off to the... What's interesting is Jim Carrey gives this big speech about like how the world's going to be interconnected. I remember seeing it and going I
have this quote written down for a reason, right? The future is now. Soon every American home will integrate their television, phone and computer. You'll be able to visit the Louvre on one channel or watch female wrestling on another. You can do your shopping at home or play Mortal Kombat with a friend from Vietnam. There's no end to the possibilities. Now, oh my God. For this is 30 years old now, this film, this year. I'm sure people watched that and went, what the fuck is he on? Well, he wants to shop. How do you shop at home?
I remember that is exactly my thought. I was like, what the fuck? How would you shop out? The only mistake they made was they made it seem like it's going to be your TV as opposed to completely computer. But other than that is absolutely correct. And I do remember thinking, how would that work? Why the fuck would you want to do that?
Because, I mean, it's and that's exactly what it is. Your TV, computer, everything is merged into one.
He's right, yeah.
And it's to be so ahead of its time. Yeah. And I'd love to know, because I know you mentioned there that Judd Apatow definitely had his fingers in terms of the writing versus Lou Holtz Jr. But who kind of had that forethought to go, this is where it's going? Like,
that is impressive,
That is... Like, that's almost some Ray Kurzweil futurist stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? That's some...
at the time, as I say, it was so far ahead. Now, not to say I was a fucking genius, but I was just, what are they talking about? That how would you do the shopping? Like, because the interaction, they were putting it like it was a TV, and interacting with your TV back then was like teletext. We didn't consider the computer thing, which was even not in the 90s wasn't great, but the interface was a lot better. And geez, fucking, they hit the nail.
What a shout!
There, that is weird.
Because that's what it is. Like, I mean, and I know I touched on it at the start of my intro, but like even the whole part of social relation. No, I don't think anybody knew what a part of social relationship was 30 years ago. Like, I mean, I'd argue most people don't know what it is now. But it's like, see that podcast that you listen to 5 times a week, and you think you know the person who's done it, and they've never heard you. But that's a part of social relationship. Like, I mean, I have a part of social relationship with like Joe Rogan. Do you know what I mean? I just do. With, there's a podcast I listen to, the Arscast, which is about Arsenal. I listen to him. I have a parasocial relationship with Andrew.
Yeah.
Mangan, who runs that, like, do you know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah, I worked with a young fella, and I remember we both liked a certain YouTuber, and I just kind of say, yeah, well, apparently he's not like that at all. And that to me is someone who's a bit older and, you know, worked in film, and you see different personas. He was like, what? What do you mean? And I was like, well, he fucking hardly acts like that, going around screaming all the time and all.
But that's the thing, like, that's what's scary. That's why I feel so worried about, like, my son and stuff, like, because he's had part of social relationship from birth. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I got them in my 20s. So I can kind of, although I don't think anybody's properly equipped to deal with the world that we live in 2026, like anybody. And I think ultimately kids will actually be more resilient to it than the likes of us, or even people slightly younger.
Yeah, you'd hope, yeah.
But it's just scary to think that, because he gets, like, say if someone replies to a comment of his on YouTube, like the YouTuber or whoever, when I tell you the dopamine flowing through his brain is unbelievable. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like a crush winking at you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well,
it's mental.
I just don't know that our brains are set up to, because the example I always give is, if I was at a party talking to someone and they said something like a little OTT about politics or whatever, I'd probably just go, oh yeah, sure, you're right, yeah. Or it doesn't bother you. When you see it online for whatever reason, it really gets the blood boiling.
Louis C.K., who has his own issues, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But he said it best, like, if you're sitting there talking to someone, there's body language, you can hear that voice. But if you read something, you just attach your own biases and your own connotations to it.
Become this fucking demon.
There's no nuance in a tweet, like, do you know what I mean?
Yes, well, we'll just be reaping the whirlwind for the next lifetime, sure. No worries there. But yeah, the film it's
way ahead of its time.
Yeah, very prescient, I gotta say. And like, I do like the scene up at the satellite.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I like how sometimes, now it's still very consistent in that the cable guy gets all of his ideas from TV. But like, they have moments where that works to his advantage. So he gives Matthew Broderick some genuinely good advice in this scene. And it's all just pure, like, he even says at the end of the scene, like, I know it was Jerry Springer's final thought on Friday's show. But like, it helps him, like, in so, like, he can move, he can do things and accomplish them. Because he has like this weird belief in the reality of how that works.
I think it's, because I mean, if you look at, because obviously everything about his personality is pulled from TV. Do you know what I mean? Which is fine. Wait, think about it. When you just meet someone, do you know what I mean? Or you're at a party, or you're socializing somehow. You're not having any deep, thoughtful relationship stuff, whether it be a friendship or a proper relationship. Because that's where it falls on its arse and you look like a fucking psycho. But in this context where, like, you're just meeting someone and it's the initial honeymoon phase of meeting someone, acting like fucking whoever from TV is going to help you.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's only when it becomes you move to a deeper level of connection that's where it all starts to go, hang on, this fella is weird.
Well, that is where, well, he kind of can't help but
and it's just very well done. Again, Stiller does very well in kind of bridging that gap between okay, when is it works for him this way, and ultimately that's why he's so lonely, is because you can tell that this is it always falls apart on him.
Well, I was wondering, there's a bit at the because he does have other people who seem to, you know, he can get on with. But I'm like, are they people who did just say, no, I can't go up to the satellite dish? So they remain these kind of superficial friends. And what is it about? Because there's a moment at the end of the first installation where he seems to be waiting for Broderick to do something. And it nearly seems like Broderick's waiting to ask him, hey, can you give me the illegal stuff for $50? But Carey seems to be waiting for him to say something pally. So like, they're completely at cross purposes, but each of them reads it a certain way, basically. Like, Carey is like, there is a bit from Carey, I was like, bit of a drag, you know, you're starting to get to know someone. He's had absolutely no interaction with him. But I just thought that was a brilliant bit of writing where he reads the way Broderick's acting as, oh, this guy wants to be my pal. And that's like a sign of like, hey, can you do the service for me? Oh, yeah, sure thing, buddy. And that's what I find well written about and quite clever.
And it's well played with Carey, because I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but Chris Farley was in line to play the cable guy.
I heard this, that would have been
a different film.
Yeah,
and it would have been a very different film. I don't think Chris Farley, God rest him, like an amazing comedic actor.
Yes.
But I think that's where it stops with him. I don't know if he had the level of emotional depth that Carey does to be able to carry something like this, a performance like this.
Yeah, Carey.
Now, I could be wrong because he had a real dark, actual life outside of cinema. Do you know what I mean? So,
True,
I mean,
yeah,
maybe he does.
Interesting, yeah,
maybe he did have that kind of depth. I don't know. And I wouldn't be as a big a Chris Farley fan to be able to say whether he
I'm
could
a
or
big
couldn't.
Tommy Boy guy. I love Tommy Boy. It's hard to say. I'd be in the multiverse now. I wouldn't mind seeing that all the time. Yeah. There is a nice bit. Sorry, just to jump to the satellite. I always love the bit where out of nowhere, like Matthew, not quite out of nowhere, Matthew Broderick's like, you know, my brother's a speech therapist. So, like, he's very. I liked how he has his little sensitivities all the same. You know. Yeah. And Broderick, that's good, like from Carey, but like Broderick sets it up so well. Like he's just like, hey, you know. I always thought the scene in the van afterwards was hilarious, where he goes like, "Oh, I'm embarrassed. I don't even know your name." And the smile
on
the way,
Carey's face, it's hilarious.
But what's funny is you're like, is that him or is this like? He's so
that's the facade. I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows how to smile.
Yeah,
he doesn't know how to have he probably feels genuinely, oh my god, and he doesn't know what to do with that feeling. So he puts on this hallmark smile.
Yeah, it is nearly. There's a deleted scene, but they put it in the special edition of Terminator 2, where he's trying to copy some guy's smile, and it's hilarious, and it's nearly exactly the same. Like where he's like trying to, but then it cuts back to Matthew Broderick, and he just stares at him. He's like, goodbye, and then he just leaves.
Now here's where I have massive issues with, because obviously not with this film, just with cinema in general, because I think it's just so fucking lazy. When it cuts back, so you see Jim Carrey smiling and the camera's on him, and it cuts back to him, and he's clearly not smiling. He just has a blank face.
I always noticed that,
and I hate that, because it's not just this film, it's every film ever. It's like adverts on TV, everything. They never just put the effort in to the actor.
What I find weird is that's what he's reacting to in the scene. So why isn't Carey doing it? Yeah, or was it originally like he smiled and then he stopped or something? I don't know, but I know. I always notice that.
No, but see, when it does cut back, it's not. He doesn't have the shit-eating grin anymore.
Yeah.
But he's still smiling.
No,
he clearly
right,
isn't in the, because if it's the back of his head, fine.
Yeah.
But it's almost a side profile.
You can see just enough that it's annoying.
And that's like, it's not a criticism of this film. It's a criticism of the whole bleeding art.
I did always notice that, but I did always just love the way Broderick plays it, where he's like, goodbye, because that was very real. I found you're just like, what do I do here? Like, what the fuck? Then we see Leslie Mann, who is not given much to do, but I always remember her from this.
Matthew Broderick's taking his advice, because he's told him Sleepless in Seattle is on HBO. Imagine that, like, because they get so excited. Hey, it's on HBO Saturday night. Do you know what I mean?
Jesus Christ, yeah. But she's not given a lot to do, but I always remembered her in this when she started showing up in the Judd Apatow stuff later, and I hadn't seen her in much else.
When she auditioned for this, Judd Apatow played the Cardi character, Red for Cardi. Really? They were married 6 months later.
Fucking hell. Yeah. They're still together. They're
still together, I think so. Yeah.
Still making... It's a shame how he kind of fell out of favour, Judd Apatow. That one he did, Funny People, that she was in, I thought that was fucking brilliant.
See, the thing is, my problem with Funny People was it wasn't a comedy. It was a drama about comedians. And I think the way this was, the Cable Guy was marketed was a real kind of, they were trying to build off Jim Carrey's persona at the time, and they completely marketed that arseways. Whereas I think they did the same with Funny People. It was marketed as a comedy about comedians, but it's a drama about comedians.
It's just a shame. I saw that with a big audience, and the way the audience went with it was that's why you go to the cinema, folks. Exactly. Sometimes that happens. Anyhow, we get to the first kind of set piece comedy scene, which is the basketball scene,
which is fucking hilarious. Like,
it is, yes, brilliant.
Because it's the way he plays the thing throughout. Like, I didn't know we're playing prison rules. Like, it's fucking the way. Just the stuff he comes out with, and the way he said, like, the way he comes in, he goes, "You guys play here too?" Weird. And it's like he's always like imitating other people. Yeah, he's watched something. He's watched something on TV, and he's replaced it. Now, fun fact.
Yeah.
So Jim Carrey apparently was so bad at dribbling a basketball.
For a great physical performer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He could not dribble one ball, let alone two. So if you watch closely at the scene as he walks in and they throw the ball at him and he's dribbling the two balls, those balls aren't there. They are complete CGI creations because he could not dribble the ball.
It is extra. I watched it on the VHS and I read that trivia and I watched the scene going, that is the stinkiest load of bullshit I've ever heard. And we watched the bit on the DVD, and it is incredibly well done.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Like, fuck those dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
But once you look at it, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
It is incredibly well. I guess because you're not expecting it, but it is well done.
It's perfect. Because even when you're expecting it, you can see the little bit of uncanny valley comes in because you know that it's not real.
But like the weight of them and all this is
fucking unbelievable. But that goes again to an amazing physical performance because he's able to act as if he has them. Like, do you know what I mean?
He is something else.
It's truly something else.
But you kind of go, would he have? Because he's allowed to join the game because the guy gets injured. And now again, obviously for the movie you want to get, but like it does work in the reality of it. Like he just keeps showing up until he had a chance to hop in. Like that.
Now I have to be. Here's a real issue that I do have with this film, which the seed is planted for now, and it comes up later. So Jack Black, and how, because he obviously interacts quite a bit with Jim Carrey in this scene, and I'll come back to that later.
I actually liked how realistic Jack Black's kind of the way he acts in the scene is, because he's just like dismissive of the guy, and he is that kind of like, I'm here with all my mates, I can kind of say stuff.
Yeah, but there is that kind of, there's kind of that lad almost bro culture going on, because I'm giggling at him and stuff like.
Yeah, now to be fair, now the way Carey is dressed, which is brilliant, and like he's like from he's from an advert, in the 70s or something. Yeah. And the way he does say, like, I feel like I've known him my whole life. But again, like, it's just a nice the way Jack play. Oh, that's sweet. And he knows all my mates are going to laugh at this. It's us against you. There's this nice little... So you can kind of see where Carey's kind of animosity, he takes it a bit too far, of course. But and the way he kind of taunts him then.
And then, like, even just the whole thing, because, I mean, I think this would probably be one of the funnier scenes in the film, because like there's like dark connotations to everything else that's funny, but this is just kind of pure comedy, because you're just looking at this madman. He goes, oh wait, I don't want to pull a hammy, let me warm up.
They have to watch him do it, and they spend a load of time on it, like
because it's like, because he runs like, say, 20 feet. And then it's 18 feet. And then it's 16. And it goes all the way just to these like this in the middle of the thing. Like.
But the turn in the scene where he goes, oh, I see, we're playing prison rules. And the way he's like behind the guy, like, like touching him.
And he's just standing up to them and knocking them over.
Oh, yeah, where he goes like,
And I think the way it's set up, because it is a bit, all right, you're staying in the one position, because again, like we spoke recently about Tomorrow Never Dies, and how Elliot Carver could have got out of the way of the thing at the end. There's no way Jack Black doesn't just step to the side when he clearly sees Carey's about to jump on his back.
But that is so funny the way they do that, with like all the different cuts and all this. And the way he goes, I love this game. He spits it. He had a, because there's so many people who tried to do it. I worked on a film once actually with a guy who was never really properly released, and you could tell the guy was like, oh, I'm doing a Jim Carrey kind of Jack Black thing, and you're like, they don't just do that. Like,
that's innately them. People have a persona, like, because we often hear about, oh well, it's just acting. But people have like Daniel Day-Lewis, De Niro, Pacino. Like, you can name any of these fucking Jesse Plemons, even younger actors. Timothy Chalamet, God bless him, has this. They have this persona. Javier Bardem, like I could keep naming them. Jim Carrey. They have, although they're playing different characters, they're still innately them. While you give yourself over to the fact that Jim Carrey is playing somebody else. You never don't know that it's Jim Carrey, but it's so well done that your brain believes it. If you know what I mean. That's what acting is. It's not just showing up and, reading lines off a page. It's something completely inherently different. And some actors, like you have your Jason Statham's, who would themselves describe themselves as, I'm not a thespian, I'm not I show up and I say the lines. But there's actors out there that really take this shit seriously, like, and you can tell that it could, because they're famously the most famous actors. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
well, now's a good time to touch on it. So what I was struck of, I watched, I watched it a million times when I was younger, but I watched Ace Ventura, the first one, recently enough, and I remember being struck by, he isn't just doing shtick, and he isn't just like, you can tell in the performance, Jim Carrey had thought through, Ace Ventura does this to amuse himself, and because it pisses other people off. He's not just doing it for the audience to be like funny. He's not going to walk funny for the... He's doing it, if you look in the scene, for like a purpose. And it's the same thing in this. He just thinks this is how people behave, and he's aping. It's not like just for yucks. Like obviously he's trying to be funny, but like there's a logic and a motivation to. I know that this is horrible cliched actor talk, but there's a reason he does all this stuff, and why when you just go, oh, I'm just going to fall off the wall funny or whatever. It's like, that's not funny. What's funny is who it is falling off the wall and what that says about him. So like when he does the warm-up thing, you're like, he saw it on TV or something. Or he just has no clue what the fuck he's doing, but he's like, well, I'm going to own this space.
And you can tell the character, not Cardi, but the character of Chip Douglas thinks he looks fantastic. Yeah. He's thinking in his head, oh, they're going to think I'm so cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's what's...
And that just reads. That just...
that's why it's a real performance. And he had this reputation of just being a sticky guy or whatever, which is not... That's not right at all. That's why he's Jim Carrey.
Like, I think Jim Carrey's had to do some of the hardest work in Hollywood to prove that he can actually act and that he's actually... That these things are actually performances and not just him being...
Yeah, it's hard to say now. I do remember seeing... I only watched like a half hour of it where he was he was like a policeman in Eastern Europe. It was one of these weird ones he made when I think his career took a bit of a swing. And he was bad in it because he is quite a mannered performer, and it was a kind of a role that just did not call. I don't know if he wasn't as invested as he would be in like Eternal Sunshine or...
I'm fairly sure that was a big film for him.
I just was like, this is not very good.
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, that was like I wouldn't say a passion project, but he read it and really wanted to do it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Good Jesus, I just remember
because it was so subdued and.
Yeah, he
got to play an actual straight guy.
I don't know what it was. Yeah, because I doubt there was a strong director. Because I paid for Sky so I could watch fucking Game of Thrones, and it just happened to be on basically. And this is awful. Like he was again. Maybe I'm being slightly unfair, but when he just has to act like if your brain is looking for the shtick, then that's your problem. That's not his problem. Like the Truman Show, he's fucking brilliant in that. And I am not as big a fan of Eternal Sunshine as some people are, but he's a good performance in that. Like it's, I really should rewatch that because I was quite.
I think he's fan. It's not a great film, but the number 23, his performance of that, I think, is the only shining light in that entire film.
Jeez, I saw that once, and I remember thinking it was very stylish. I don't remember fucking near anything else.
He's very good in it. He just plays that kind of fucking losing his mind.
Okay.
Am I the only? What's the saying? If you think you're the only sane person alive, are you suddenly insane? He plays that so fucking well. Like, you know what I mean?
I think he really believes in that number 23 thing, though, Jim Carrey. Like,
well, I didn't know that.
I remember there were some monologues in it where I was like, what the fuck is this shit? If you actually meant to believe it. He is a bit of a kooky guy. Like, some of the vaccine denial stuff I could kind of do without now. But look, as a performer, if you're getting your vaccine advice from him, you know,
it's like saying people that get their vaccine advice from Joe Rogan in today's context, like like you probably don't want to fucking.
Oh, good lord, yeah. Although if you have that kind of influence, anyway, we're getting fucking tied up in knots here. Yeah. So it's at the end of the basketball scene where he ruins it and all that. And again, this is what I mean. Like they could have played the scene for a little more awkwardness, where Matthew Broderick at the end of that basically just tells him, "Get away from me!" Like he says, "We're not friends," and he's like, "Oh." They could have, and I'm not saying they were wrong.
But again, like I mentioned, but he's polite over honesty.
Well, he is pretty straightforward with him in that scene. He's like, "What are you talking about? We're not friends." And I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty, furl on there." It does lead to that very funny scene where he plays the messages back.
Yeah,
that's very. We're having ourselves quite a little game of phone tag.
Pick up.
And then I always loved it when he goes, like the last message is just, oh shit.
That's because you can imagine that, because I mean it's a different context, but like you ever see like the typical someone's gotten drunk and they're calling their ex, and but then they sober up enough towards the end of it that they realise they go, oh no,
I shouldn't have done
this.
It's
like a moment of clarity for him where he goes, oh no, I've done it again.
That's what I took it as. He's like, oh no, I've done it again too far.
I've ruined it. Like,
yeah.
And then, but it also, because what that creates then is, because obviously it's a bit funny, but it goes on but it still plays it long enough and there's so many messages where it goes, it's no longer funny, where you as an audience member are like, oh shit.
What I love is the turn in it where he goes like, hey, blah, blah, call you, and he's like, hey, I'll be home soon. And then I think that the scene takes a turn. I think there's even a music thing where it's like, hey, I'm home, just thought I'd call you. And you do go, whoa, wait a minute, what? Like at every beat.
I was just in the shower and I thought you might have called.
Yeah. Does that ever happen to you? I know he said I was drying my hair and I thought maybe I heard the phone ring. Did that ever happen to you?
Yeah.
Now
but again, that's something that he saw in something. Someone's drying their hair and they're like, oh, it's the phone ringing or the door's knocking.
Now, I have a question about the scene where he shows up. So Leslie Mann is showing up and
she's
Matthew
coming
Broderick
to watch Sleepless in Seattle with.
Now, is the scene played as Matthew Broderick knows he fucked up his cable on purpose? Or does Matthew Broderick... I always took it as Matthew Broderick just kind of didn't think it through and was like, okay, there was a problem and he just happened to be... Because he arrives before he even rings, but the way he plays it was like, hey, there is a problem with my cable. And then Carrey just flicks a switch, which he had obviously just switched
There's
off.
a couple of things in this that I think are extremely... that Stiller does very kind of artistically. And what I mean by that, and I might be using the word artistically in the wrong context, but what I mean is there's a lot of audience participation in scenes such as this, because it pops up again for me where I'll kind of explain me reasons for it. But I think that he's playing it as... I don't think the character knows... I don't think the character finds it that strange that he's just had been at the door.
That's how I took it, yeah.
That's the way I took it as well, because I know to us it's like, whoa, that's completely on the nose and out there. I don't think Matthew Broderick, in the context of the film, as Stephen Kovacs, goes, what's he doing there? I think, okay, he's here, I have a problem with my cable.
Yeah, maybe he just knew about it.
I think it's just for us as an audience to go, okay, this well, I'm bleeding you down a certain way here.
Yeah.
And I think it's massively done because it Stiller does really well with it.
Yeah,
it's not an Jesus hit lads moment where it could be.
Yeah, well, it's so obvious when you think about it for a second that he set it up. He even says, that's what I mean, like he says the cable's for effect.
Yes, yeah.
But I always took it as Matthew Broderick kind of being like, I don't have time to think about this. I have other things to think about.
He's busy with his work.
Like, you're the person who should show up to fix this problem. I thought that was very well done. Like, it's kind of nicely ambiguous in that, because they need him to actually go to the fucking restaurant with him in the next scene. And if he just knew immediately, oh, what the fuck, he just wouldn't go. Like, he just wouldn't buy it. Now, immediately as the scene starts, he's already trying to tell him, like, here, listen, I think, the party's going on. You're just not invited anymore, but this is apparently Carrey's suggestion to set this scene at medieval times. And it's the second kind of big set piece, and it is very, very funny.
It's very well done, yeah.
The way everything's done, like with Janine Garofalo as the waitress.
Yeah, she's very good. She's only
she's
in
very
it.
memorable, yeah.
I remember, because when he called her a wench and everything, it's just, but she is so good in this.
Yeah, and I think when
she just hates her life. Like,
when he says something like that, it kind of cuts to her. No, when he starts doing the thing, and it cuts to her, and she's like, all right, all right, I guess gonna have to sit here.
And this is the first time we're kind of introduced that, Chip Douglas knows everybody.
Yes.
He's given everybody free cable.
He's hooked up the nights for free. Now, I always thought the fella doing the announcements, I always thought that was a guy from Kids in the Hall.
Andy Dick.
It's Andy Dick, yeah. And I have to say, again, not a very questionable human being, he is fucking hilarious in this. The way he plays it, welcome, was a journey into the past. And it's like this terrible actor who does the same shit every day.
Yeah.
But the way he pulls that off, and then the switch in the persona is really funny as well.
Yeah, like when, I suppose we can just jump into it. Like, essentially what happens is they're sitting around and they're chosen to fight each other, because Chip has set it up that, okay, you've wronged me and we need to have a fight now. So...
Oh yeah, I'd never put that together.
Yeah. So he's completely set it up because we have to just fight it out. Like, and he mentions it to him. And he's like, "What do you mean? Like, we're not really doing this." How he like?
Yeah,
he thinks it because Matthew Broderick thinks it's all.
Well,
he thinks it's all acting and stuff.
Yeah,
but even because it's the jousting, isn't it? Is that what it's called?
It's like
first they have a Star
duel,
Trek,
it's a duel, thing, and then it's the joust at the end,
Yeah, so the joust at the end though is Andy Dick switches, because Andy Dick is in character and he's hey, and he goes, "This guy is not playing. Get on the horse."
The bit during the climax where he rips off the wig and he's like, "Preferred customer, my ass." He just has that perfect like whatever.
It should be mentioned
West
here as well when he takes the chicken skin. Carrey, not written down, completely like
yes.
And so when you're watching Broderick's reaction, Like that's completely natural.
That's his reaction. Yeah,
he's like, what the fuck is this fella doing? Like,
yeah, he does. I assume they now shot it a few times, but they do actually lead off from. There's a bit where he kind of is like, he does kind of find that funny, and he goes like, "Oh Lord, listen, don't take this the wrong way," and it's all in one kind of shot. That's very good acting on his part.
I know,
like,
yeah, but the only because and the reason I always kind of had a feeling that this was not written down is because there'd be too much thought put into it if it was written down, because he's playing Hannibal Lecter with an eaten face, so obviously that wouldn't happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If someone had put more thought into it, like, do you know what I mean?
It seems very. It just has that nice, it's like perfectly little throwaway kind of a detail. I also wanted to mention, I thought this film was kind of. I knew at the time, even when I saw it, this was not as big a film as like some of the others. But I do remember the secondary school I went to, they used to force us to go to the rugby games.
Okay, yeah. It was one of them, was it?
Yeah, they had these cheerleader fucking guys, like, you know, guys with like megaphones.
Anti-Semitism and sexual assault.
Well, there was too much of the latter, and the former I wouldn't have noticed at the time, to be honest. Probably, yeah. And they had these guys. But one time at one of the games, someone started going about whoever the other team was, Black Rock or whatever, like down, down, down. And I was like, oh, has everyone else seen the fucking cable guy? Apparently it was big enough that people knew that reference to do it. But I remember at the time thinking this wasn't as big as his other ones or whatever. But obviously people were watching it.
I think this is one of them that maybe financially, it probably wasn't as... I think that's where it comes from. Yeah. That's what I mean. So people assume that nobody's seen it. But this was massive for me on VHS back in the day.
Yeah, it was a Jim Carrey film.
Yeah, and it's a big... It must have done very well with DVD and VHS sales. Like,
I would imagine it did. Yeah. It's this again. There's not a huge amount because it's just funny, like the way
people forget. Like, it used to be a case that when a film, if you didn't see a film in the cinema, you'd rent it or you'd buy it on VHS after the fact.
Or you'd show up on TV.
That's where comedies made their money, because comedies still didn't make massive amounts of money back in the day either. Plenty of them, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, a few of them would break through, but
most of them relied on the DVD sales, like, to break even or to make a profit.
Them were the days, yeah. But it is the fight scene is, again, all down to Carey. Like the way Broderick plays it I always like the bit where he goes, "Chip, this isn't funny. Will you stop it?" Like he is just like, what the fuck is up with this guy?
But that's where because you get really uncomfortable, because like this fella is dead serious. Yeah, like Jim Carrey is.
He might just kill him. Like,
but see, because what happens is then obviously the joust happens. And then at the end of it, it's like all is forgiven or something, like, because Jim Carrey switches back into
he just becomes
Chip Douglas, the man in service, rather than, oh, you've hurt me.
Very interesting.
One thing it does have a really interesting thing to say is transactional relationships, because Chip in for the way he lives is, I've done something for you, so you have to do something for me. Everything is transactional. Do you know what I mean? And that's real interesting, because that's no friendship if everything is transactional, like, do you know what I mean? But it's not just. But you see, the thing is, it adds to a deeper level of meaning behind the character, because obviously it's really on the nose that he's been raised by TV, but this is something deeper again in his relationship, because you don't learn that from TV.
True, yeah.
The transactional relationship stuff.
Well, also later on, he has no idea that, like, he just sees, I can fix it. I can fix it. And you're like, some things, man, like, how can I trust you anymore? Or, you know. But I just have to shout out, I always thought it was hilarious the way, just before he sweeps the way he says, "Goodbye, Jim." And that's pure Jim Carrey, like the way he says it. Just the way he says it is funny, like, it's fucking great. So then the scene ends, and then I did always like this. That was a good transition back to where he's cracking his back in the hallway. I always thought, and you kind of go, yeah, they've kind of made up now.
Because I mean, I don't know what your teenage years were like, but back in the day, if me and one of the lads had an issue, we'd fucking duke it out, and 9 times out of 10 we were back best of friends straight after.
You'd be screaming at each other, and then the next
a bit more physical than screaming, but you know what I mean?
You call over to the gaff the next time. Yeah, he did go. So this is the scene where he gives them the big entertainment.
And I love this line, because I remember back in the day not understanding what it meant.
Oh, creaming it.
Make George Lucas cream in his pants. And at me as a 10-year-old watching this, I was like, I don't know what that means.
I was about to bring up that line. I always remembered it as well. I remember laughing. I think I was old enough to get it at the time. Yeah,
I had no idea.
Like, it was out there. It's still a nice setup. Jeez, the size of them fucking speakers and all this. Yeah,
the telly's leaves a lot to the imagination. Like,
yeah, the telly, that, folks, would have been a rear projection television, which don't perform well under light. If the room
You
isn't
sound
dark.
smart until you start stuttering.
I know, yeah, terrible. They were the biggest TVs you could get, but I noticed because I'm into the laser disc, which I don't have of the cable guy, but apparently they were huge, but the angle of viewing wasn't very good, and if the room was too bright or whatever, but they were fucking very expensive.
You could be 10 grand, like.
Yeah, oh yeah, Jesus.
Easily.
Yeah. So that setup is 30, 40 grand.
That's one good thing that we can say about technology, because you have hypersonic missiles, which aren't good, but we also have TVs that weigh 1 kilogram and are 75
and they're
inches
fucking
long.
amazing,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
And they're very cheap compared to what they used to be.
Yeah, I recently bought a telly, 65 inches, 4K, full HD, €550. So what that is, that's about, I want to say, $650, $700, and maybe £450.
We're living the fucking dream
That's
these days. Yeah. We're spoiled these days. Yeah. Now, I think the next big scene to talk about is another set piece scene, is the karaoke jam.
Now, this.
Whoever fucking found the weirdos and outcasts and fuck
These are all big actors. Not big actors, but like, so for instance, the guy who's singing what song is it that he's singing?
The old lad sings American Woman.
Not the American Woman.
And then the boat.
Rock the Boat, yeah. He's in the Warriors.
Get the fuck out.
And he has a big scene in the Warriors.
There's one or two guys who I go, that's some lunatic they found on the street or something.
The guy that sings Rock the Boat he's the head of the orphans.
Get the fuck out.
Do you remember that scene?
Oh my God.
He's the head of the orphans.
I just thought I was like, where did they find these fucking guys?
Because it seems like just this fucking motley crew of random actors. Yeah. But his scene, I love that scene so much in the Warriors, and he's so good in it, because it's like, oh, we're big, we can do this, and he plays it so well. Like,
fuck me, he's just a great. I just assume he was always someone I was like, he probably is a bit of an act, but like he just looks like. But there are some people in the crowd,
and he's so good in it as well.
Like
he's
the
so good in this.
Yeah. And there's another guy who just has like.
So I mean, there's so many actors like Sean Whalen, like he's in everything. Like he's one of them actors where you go, Jesus, it's Joanne, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's one or two of them. Like there's the bit where they're in where he bursts in on Matthew Broderick and you're one. There's an owl lad who's nearly looking at the camera and he's making all these weird faces. I'm like, they had to have just found that guy. Like, what the fuck? It is just brilliant, like casting. It's just and the way they all play it, like you believe these are just these fucking weirdos that he's met who like have nothing else to do. So
because that's it. Like, you mean, you see the cop and all, like the people that he's doing favors for. Do you know what I mean, or whatever? Like he gave them the free cable.
I did like into maybe they were prescient as well, lumping the cops in with these fucking outcasts. Yeah, maybe he says something as well, like who wear their full uniforms to the party.
Now,
as well.
Here's an unpopular opinion, right? Jefferson Airplane. I love this song. With Somebody's Love. I love every version of it. I love the Boogie Pimps version of it. Everything. But if the mood strikes, I will listen to the Jim Carrey version before I listen to the Jefferson Airplane version. I think this is fucking spectacular. The performance of it. I think it's unbelievable. As a song, I'm not forget the context of the film. I think it is amazing.
Oh, okay, I got you. Well, there's a few things to talk about. Again, that thing is, and I understand why they did it, and it's what makes the film still, I think, we're talking about. But that is completely the film stopping and saying, look at this guy, as opposed to, it's not from anyone's point of view. Do you know what I mean? And you could maybe, as taking a purely dramatist kind of a point of view, you could go, that should really be, there should be someone looking at him kind of, or like it should be shot more objectively to show what a weirdo he is. But it is so funny and it's so brilliant, like and it is a great performance.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. When the truth did, like, what a bleeding performance!
Yeah.
Like, I'd sing more, but even unfortunately I can't sing, and we'll get tagged for copyright.
And the outfit he's wearing in it, like leather pants and a fucking cord. What's it?
I don't know what they call it, the cowboy thing.
The tassels or something. Yeah, fucking great. But the guy, the way he sings, the other guy, the guy from the Warriors with the microphone, like he's holding it at an angle. And you're like, this is the kind of guy who's a complete fucking loser, thinks he's really cool. The way they all fit together. Did you notice as well now? I always noticed this when I was younger. There's the one that Matthew Broderick takes to bed. Did you notice there's another blonde, attractive woman at the party who I always assumed she must be another prostitute because she actually doesn't belong with the rest of them.
I didn't notice it.
There's another one there who's like, who isn't like an old one or isn't like dressed up like a complete lunatic. She just, and I'm like, is she like the backup in case the other one
it doesn't work out?
or whatever?
I never even noticed that. I must have a look.
Yeah, she's there. Yeah. I watched it a lot now when I was younger, and I always noticed that. I was probably just like, good looking woman. Oh, there we are.
Now I want to point out as well. There's also as part of the scene, there's dialogue between Jack Black's character and Jim Carrey's character.
There is, yeah.
I need to point that out because it'll become a part of that, because we know that they've met at the basketball game. They've also met here. Mm-hmm. And so obviously he's basically, some weird dialogue here is, oh, I'm taking over. He's my friend now.
Yeah. He's changing.
Yeah.
Which is, even when you're watching it, you're like, that seems very premature. Like it feeds into the character of, he has this arrogance about it. Like, this is happening, you know. And but I love the reality of that. Jack Black is there, and he's like, I've no fucking interest in talking to anyone. But obviously Stephen would invite him, and he is the kind of guy who there's a nice just little undercurrent of reality to it, even as it's very heightened, you know. And this is the scene where, you know, Broderick gets off with your one, and my friend just saw him bursting in with the camera was the funniest thing.
Yeah, it is funny. It is. Yeah. But here's another. Remember I was saying about we were talking about when he knocks at the door and the character Broderick not realising.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I think that's still are purposely doing that, and I also think they're actually in the world, right? They're actually having sex. And what we see is what he's showing the audience. But I believe that they're bursting in, and if you look at, think about it. Think of the faces he's making, getting a massage. Like, I'm 100% in the camp that this needed to be PG-13 or whatever, and they couldn't show or didn't want to show sex.
It's a clever way around that, yeah.
Because I fully believe that he's in it. Because I mean, think about it. You can you can talk your way out if someone takes a photo of you at a party and there's a woman with her arms wrapped around you. You can talk your way out of that.
Yeah.
There's one thing that you can't talk your way out of. And that's if you're balls deep. Do you know what I mean?
So do you mean like it's like in a movie where everyone's speaking English, but they're actually supposed to be
speaking Japanese or speaking whatever?
Interesting.
I think they burst in and they're actually making the beast of two wax.
Yes, you're the one who did it. Once per podcast. That's to go up.
But I genuinely believe that that's what Stiller was going for. They are actually having sex.
That is very interesting.
But what he shows us is a massage and there's a bit of light kissing, a bit of petting.
But you're dead right. Yeah, you would kind of get an Asher
Asher Jesus.
That was 5 years ago.
That's Sandra. She used to work in the office. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she got a bit carried away with herself. To sign off on that scene though, the directing and the acting of the dancers in the background when it is just brilliant. They're so into those characters. Like you can just imagine, like, if you got into it, you'd probably enjoy yourself at that party, but they're the greatest bunch of fucking rejects.
But like even just looking at it there now, Jim Carrey leaving is just fucking hilarious.
He's just brilliant, he's got funny bones. Like there's no two ways about it. The next scene is a scene again subtler, but that I've always liked, where he's making him breakfast in the morning, and he just is like, this is his morning after. Like I did it. We're friends now. This is amazing. And do you notice he borrowed his jumper, which is often what women do after they sleep over. And do you ever notice actually when he's in someone's house, he's always kind of creeping around. He does it to Leslie Mann. He's like checking out little things. And when he walked in the first time, he was always and he takes a beer out of the fridge when they come back from medieval times. Like he's very presumptuous. Always, again, just a nice
because that's the thing. If I was in a friend's house, like a proper friend's house, I'd go and take a beer. I'd make a fucking sandwich. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't mind vice versa, but if someone who was an acquaintance or someone I just knew went to my fridge, I'd be like, hang on.
And I think actually, I could be wrong, I think Broderick slightly gives him the side eye when he starts taking the beer.
It's politeness over honesty. Instead of going, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, oh, well, I'll just let him.
Yeah, you know it's not crossed the line just yet. But I do love how casually he brings up, like, he's just like, it was my treat.
Yeah. What do you mean? What?
I
Broderick plays this so well.
He's very good.
He's very both of them in this scene is fantastic, but Broderick particularly because he's like what?
The slowly building panic of like,
he knows
what?
Because you can see when the penny drops, but he's still not willing to accept it.
You can't possibly mean this, but the way Carey goes, I checked her out myself about a week ago, and I'm healthy as a horse, not a drip. And the way he says it, so like, what's the big, like, he just has no idea what.
But just even the fact that to know that, okay, you wrote that last week and now you've given it to me.
I know,
like,
yeah.
what?
Well, what's funny is and it's a bit funny enough in a kind of a similar theme movie in Taxi Driver. It's kind of the same thing. If you remember, he brings her to the porno film because he just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like he's just like, oh, I've read in magazines or whatever. I've seen people go here. He just is like, what's the problem? He just has no idea that, you know, fucking hiring and not telling someone and that you did it the week before. He just has no reference for that. And he's just like, what do you mean? Like, what the fuck? Now, it's funny, but there's a nice, you know, kind of a reference. And I like how he's like, everything was going so well. We were eating and I made you scrambled eggs. And he's like, but the key thing is I can fix it.
Yeah.
I can make it all better.
Because obviously this is the straw that broke the camel's back. For Matthew Broderick, and it's get out of my house. I don't want to see you again. Leave.
Yeah. He hasn't quite. Carey hasn't quite turned on him yet, but because he still
thinks he can fix it.
Yeah,
and that's I think that's a real interesting character detail that you kind of need, like because it kind of reminds you that okay, he's doing all these things not to be the antagonist in his mind. He may be the antagonist in the story, but he's just a bloke who's trying for connection, who doesn't know what to do. Like,
well, there's a reason that he was rejected here. When he really turns is when he's like, "I just did something for you. What are you?" Ungrateful?
That's transactional. That stuff.
That's, and again, that's very consistent. The next scene is the Owen Wilson scene, as we'll call it, and the way Carey moves in, and he's like,
I love the direction choice and the camera choice because as he's walking in, and it's just pans up, and because like Jim Carrey, you could see Jim Carrey playing someone very serious, but that kind of flamboyant kind of. I'm reminded of a lot of performances like in Narcos and stuff of like flamboyant cartel members and stuff. He could do that easily, like, do you know what I mean?
Well, this is his idea. This is his idea of this guy. Like he's like, I'm a man on a mission. I'm suave. He's the least suave person.
And I was trying to go if Ben Stiller genius, right? Now maybe he just wanted to make his friend look like a fucking idiot. Yeah. Owen Wilson. But Owen Wilson, just without him saying a word. Yeah. You go, what a dickhead.
What an arsehole.
Oh my God. He has to bleed. What's that called?
The polo now, the turtleneck.
Turtleneck and everything.
And he's like wearing it under a jumper, which is an odd choice. But the way he behaves, he's so like believable. He's like a believable arsehole. Like he isn't like OTT. Like the way he just goes.
Even
like,
the way his hair is perfect.
I know, yeah. And he's like, "You're sexy. You heard me." And he's like, "Oh, what? I'm listening. I'm paying attention. I just got to go to the bathroom." Like, this guy is so wrapped up in himself. Yeah. Really well played. Like he's very, very funny.
And then when you watch this now, I always took it as he knew the toilet attendants, but watching it this time, I don't think he did. Like,
I never took it that way. I just
because I just thought that he quickly goes. Like,
but again, it works for him because he's like, you've seen that in movies. You've been working hard. Take it off. But the way he, I still say this actually in me job like once a month or something where he comes up and he goes like, of course it's always swinging in here. The winters are remarkably mild. I say that all the fucking time. What does that even mean? No, but he's so amused in and of himself, like it. Oh Jesus.
And he fucking just kicks the head off Owen Wilson, basically.
That's why he's such a great physical actor. And I love the detail of he impossibly shows. Although the cubicles in American Jacks have like 3
but you're
feet.
No, it's impossible.
It is still impossible, but like it's a little more believable. Like
But see, here's where you can get real into the weeds with it. Like, is this his projection? Is he thinking? Is this already happened and he's remembering what happened?
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean? He's sitting in his van outside Matthew Broderick's house, staring in the window, and he's remembering what he did for him.
Yeah, or the reality of it was very different, but it
was very mundane.
It is. It's so funny the way he does it, like right into the buckle. That's gotta hurt, Gene.
It's fucking fantastic.
It's great. Yeah, it's another.
And the thing is as well, because there's kind of 2 contexts you can take this scene in. It's like, oh, right, this fella's just cracked and he's this innocent man, but you can also revel in the fact that he's kicking the head off this arsehole.
You can't feel any bit of sympathy.
Yeah, because you can't, because it falls apart if you do. Like, you kind of don't go on okay, this is taking a violent turn. Like, if it's not funny, for the want of a better way to put it.
And it's again like to stay. You can kind of critique it maybe from a strict drama point of view, but there's a brilliant shot at the end of it where the camera's up high, but it cranes down as he leans in to threaten him. And just the way the people and the cameras moving together, and do you know, it's like he swerves, he like swings his jacket around and puts it on in one like really smooth motion, and it's that's not easy shit to do, because it's a tight
that's
jacket,
choreography, like that's like that's more than just moving your body.
I know,
like.
yeah, God knows how many fucking takes it took, but it was worth it. Like, it's just a
very satisfying,
really funny scene, yeah. And then I always like the police sketch in the next scene of him, and Broderick is watching like, huh? And like just very brief, like, oh, that's a bit odd, but yeah, there's just some stuff in it that is just funny. Like, that's what they were, I think, leaning into ultimately the whole like dark comedy thing of it. It's like you said at the start, I just take it as a comedy with like some dark elements, as opposed to like what you call a black comedy, which it really isn't. Like, if maybe there was a version in the film Canisters that they just could have done that, but it is more just like that scene, you just enjoy it. Like,
so we kind of touched on it already, but after that scene is Eric Roberts, the TV movie of the trial. Which one thing that I wanted to point out as well is Ben Stiller in the very early development wants to play the cable guy. And this is the first film. This is the first film that he's ever directed where he didn't have a major role in. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's only kind of like he's the subplot character. Like, he's only. Yeah,
that was kind of a clever move, because I do remember I half recognized him. However, I knew him from something. I remember, like, that's what made that subplot kind of really stick, because if it was someone you had no idea who it was, I think it wouldn't quite play as well. Yeah. But it is very, very good. So then he shows up at Leslie Mann's apartment, Jim Carrey, to install her cable, and he's crawling through the vents and sees her shoulder tattoo, which is a plot point later. But again, when that's over, when he's finished, like, he is just kind of creeping around her house, but he again is playing. He has such confidence in himself, and he's telling her, me and I had a woman once, and we thought we'd take some time to reassess our feelings. Well, she's no longer with us. And he gets away with it because you just wouldn't think someone would lie to you and like pretend to be crying.
Exactly. Something like that. Something so heavy.
Yeah. But what's funny is then, as soon as his back is turned to her, you can see his face kind of go like, ooh, like, okay, I'm over with. Or he's like, I don't want to put up with you. I always actually, there was a touch of, I don't want to put up with your emotions about this, because she gets upset over it. And it's just very brilliantly done. And the way I always like the way he goes like, he thinks you're the Keth pajamas. He really does. Like, the way he says that, I was like, that's just funny. Like, he could have said a million other things, but he said that, and it's funny. It's the funnier option. Yeah. Just again, a very psychologically kind of good scene, and the fact that he did that for him, and she thinks it's the greatest thing that ever happened. Oh, okay, we're back. She is maybe slightly the most underwritten part of the film, which is
because she kind of takes him. She kind of takes it a bit hook, line, and sinkery, like rather than Broderick. You can see he struggles with it, and he's like, "Hang on, what's going on here?" And do you know what I mean? Whereas she's just kind of, okay.
Yeah, like it's not like terrible or anything. I wouldn't say it's horrendous, and it works, but it's not exactly just paint by numbers. But it is. She's someone who you're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, that kind of goes the ABC of it. Whereas a lot of the rest of it, you're like, oh, that's interesting how that happened and this. And yeah, she does seem to be really buy into his whole thing, which is. It does lead to the very funny scene with his family, Matthew Broderick's family later, where everyone's against him. It is very funny. But then, she calls up Matthew Broderick, so that means he has to blow off Jack Black going to that concert, which is that bit, the biggest Jack Black moment where he's like, "Are you ready to rock?" And you just know Jack Black was like, "Oh, I'm really gonna fucking that's my line right there." And I do like how he's driven him home, but he's so like finished with him, like he's just like, yeah, sure, maybe I'll invite my cable guy. You can. That's again very believable, like that kind of register of like passive aggressive, like as opposed to just having it out. And then again, I did always like the scene. Very nice choice having it in the pouring rain. He's like, "I fixed it, Stephen. It's all cool again."
But again, like for anybody who doesn't know. The rain, it doesn't just happen to rain in cinema. Like usually it's something that's been bubbling under the surface coming to the fore. That's the kind of visual context of rain in the film. If you look at The Notebook, when it starts raining on the lake, like it's because something that's been bubbling under the surface has come out, which is what's happening here. So it's actually very interesting. The next time you're watching something and it's raining, what's happening in the scene? It's usually the same across everything. Like,
I think it was funny enough.
Thanks, Trevor, for letting us know that in college.
I want to say it was like Shakespeare who said sympathetic weather, which doesn't quite fit because I don't know what.
Because that's the thing. Because if you look at the context, because if you look at rain in Ireland, We view it very differently. But if you go to places in America, it doesn't rain. So when it's raining, it's very whoa. Do you know what I mean? Whereas
true,
if it's raining in an Irish film, it's just a Tuesday.
Probably,
do you know what I mean? We don't see we don't get there's usually not the context behind the rain in an Irish film as it is pretty much anywhere else. Like, do you know what I mean?
No, but just the way, particularly Carey plays it, but they're both very good in it. But Carey, of course, is the one kind of pushing things. But he, like the way he goes, I don't have any room in my life for another friend. So what are you trying to say? I remember that was in all the trailers. That was like a big, because it is a kind of a typical joke of like, I said something really quite plainly, and
now
you're
you're not
what
getting
are you
it.
trying to say? Yeah. But the way he goes, sure. And now he goes, you're a real straight shooter. I appreciate it. I'm fine. And he does like this comedic, like, but you buy it emotionally at a certain point, but there's still kind of comedy there, like the way he says it. Because again, he doesn't know what to say. He has nothing to say. So he's like, what if people said in the past in movies, like, I'm fine, and I'm a big boy. I can handle it. And actually, the only bits in it where the only bits in it that seem to be him are like the bits where he's pleading with him. That doesn't seem like kind of stock movie stuff, like the bit where he's like, I can fix this, I can make it.
Yeah, it's the real person coming out. Like,
which is what's fascinating about it. And again, what makes it a real performance and not just Jim Carrey is the cable guy. Walk. I haven't seen, I keep trying to think, I think I just actually avoid films where I know that that's what the case is going to be. Like, I haven't watched a lot. Like, to be fair now, I do love him, but Adam Sandler falls into that trap sometimes where he just does a stupid voice for like no reason, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, what was the one? Like, the water boy talks like that because it means everyone takes him for a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
like,
but true. But it's also playing. It's the deep south fucking.
There is a stereotype
probably
there,
touched a bit. Like, do you know what I mean?
But that is the character. Like, did he do one for Netflix where he just kind of talks like this for like no reason? I'm sure, like Hubie and Halloween or something.
Halloween, yeah.
That's like, maybe that film is. Maybe if I watched it with a few pints, I'd be like, ho ho ho. But that is to me like just.
I don't think you would.
That is just a funny voice performance. Whereas there's a legit character here who behaves a certain way, like for a reason, you know. But then we go from, this is where things take a dark turn except I suppose this is where the film's reputation comes from. But even then, they don't play it as extreme as I thought they could have. Like when he goes to prison, like Matthew Broderick, they could have made that really dark, but they just kind of play up the cliches of like,
I'm coming after you, fish,
new fish, and they really do. They might have shot more stuff, because I remember when I rewatched it now, it's like, geez, he gets out of prison awful
very quickly. Yeah,
like it just cuts from him in there.
Now, is the family before or after prison?
That was after prison,
yeah,
because I remember Carey playing it like.
But obviously, just to point out, like the cop that's at the karaoke jam is the guy who arrested him for stolen property.
Yeah, that's Charles Napier, isn't it? Yeah, who's a recognizable. And then the other guy, I recently saw him in some horrendous film. I've been going through my old laser discs that I have to clear, and he was in the Guyver 2 or something.
And we haven't even mentioned David Cross. It works with Stephen Kovacs in.
That's right. He's just in the fucking back.
But he has nothing to say.
Yeah, like, I think he's like one or two reaction shots or something. That's it. Yeah.
Because he's there when he's getting arrested, and he's just staring at Matthew Broderick. Like,
yeah, that is a good. We maybe because it's a plot point later. So his boss, I do like how much of a dick his boss is. He's this total passive aggressive. Like, it's not my ass, it's your ass. You know, like. Okay, and he says it with like this kind of peppy, like happy energy, but you can tell the terrible insecurity of it. But yeah, so he gets sent to prison, and I do like. I think this is Kovacs a Jewish name or what? Because the way his father is played is to me kind of the Jewish cliche.
George Siegel,
You're killing your mother with this.
Yeah. I would imagine. I think so. I think it's Eastern European, but
if we were Yanks, you'd be fucking go. How could you not know what ethnicity that
we
person
don't.
is?
There's not a big Jewish community here. We don't know.
There is. The way his father is played is very funny. Like the way he's like, "You're killing your mother with this." Like it's all about, and the way he's friends with the lawyer, and they're all kind of like, and it's like, well, you're gonna have to go. Like the way it was timed, that he has to spend the weekend in lockup and all this. Like very, very funny. Like it. But again, it's comedic as opposed to dark. Like it's not as dark as I think. If you heard the reputation of the film, I think it'd come off as nearly lightweight or something. Which isn't to say that's a critique. I think the film still works, but they don't go anywhere near as dark as they could. It is just a kind of real. He walks to the he walks to his prison cell. Then there's a scene with Carey, which is very funny, the kind of famous bit that was in all the trailers.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think they cut and he's out of the fucking
Pretty
prison.
much, yeah.
Which works for the film. Like they were making a different.
Yeah, like that's very funny.
Thing, yeah.
Oh, Billy.
Yeah. And but he is like the way he's like, I'm gonna put the system on trial.
Yeah.
He just likes saying that shit, and he just likes
because he saw it in a courtroom drama on TV. Like he watched Law and Order. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's just great. Like he just.
It's very funny though, because when he's giving it the whole large one with his chest up against the window, and then the guy sitting next to him was just like,
he blows him the kiss. Yeah. And I love Broderick Side. You're gonna get me killed, which is a very reasonable fucking concern. Like,
and then he goes, Garrett, this guy showed me the stuff, and he goes, oh yeah, how's the new sports package?
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Because this again is touching on this guy knows everybody.
That was actually, I actually found that, and that was nearly a dark moment.
But that's scary.
Like,
you don't know what it is, because it's like this guy knows everybody. I can do nothing. I can't go to the police. I can't go to the people who are to protect me within prison. I can't do anything.
Yeah, and obviously you wonder, like, because the reality of that does work, because you imagine, like, say, maybe with those people it's obviously purely transactional, like he doesn't really want to hang, for whatever reason they don't hang out to it, but there does seem to be a reality to it. But just the guy blows him the kiss, that's fucking really good. I think then
it's pretty much straight into the family
scene. Yeah.
So what happens here, after he gets out of prison, he goes to Jack Black's character.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, he works in TV
he works
or something.
in a newsroom or something.
And he wants, now this is where, I've mentioned the two scenes where Jack Black clearly either interacts with Chip Douglas or is made aware of him.
Mm-hmm.
The way he plays this here is like he has no clue what Matthew Broderick is talking about. He doesn't know who he's talking about, and he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
and
he does go Chip Douglas. Where have I heard that name before?
Yeah, and it's like, hang on, you were just talking to him. And I know in the film it's only 10 minutes. It could be a week.
Yeah.
But like still, he plays it too much like he doesn't know what he's talking about. And this always annoyed me. I don't know. Like,
do you know what? To me, like, that now is just an ABC scene. But I did always like how he just goes, I'm out on bail. And I was like, yeah, you would just go, all right, yeah, you're my mate off. Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I take your point, the way he says the name and all that.
It's just, because I mean, it's all fine him going and doing it, but okay, just say something like, oh, I knew there was something up with this guy.
Yeah.
And then that's it. It's problem solved. But this idea of,
that's true.
Who's this guy?
Maybe it was a reshoot or something now I think about it. Yeah,
one thing that did cross my mind before is that, but see, the problem is in the basketball team, because I once had this kind of idea that, or maybe he doesn't know who Chip Douglas is because he's told him a different name.
Yeah.
But he knows who Chip Douglas is from the basketball team.
Yeah. No, you would think, that's a little shaky now, but that is a plotting scene, to be honest.
But that's it, yeah. No,
now,
it is like,
the dinner scene, I wouldn't actually call this a set piece scene, but this is very funny.
It's quite, it's very comedic.
I love the dynamic of it, again, like Carey being very superficial.
And it should be pointed out here, actually, George Siegel played Dick in Fun with Dick and Jane in 1977.
Did
and
he?
Jim Carrey went on to play it 15 years after this film.
Jesus. Do you know what? I actually remember seeing that film, the Jim Carrey one. I remember going, this is actually pretty good.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Fuck me. He's actually, I don't know. I think we kind of take him for granted a bit or something. Anyway, but I love how he's so ingratiating himself with this. So he shows him that photo that now I'm rethinking the reality of that you mentioned. But what I really love is it cuts him at the dinner table and he's telling the story of medieval times completely. He's like, hey, it's just for fun. What are you trying to prove? And everyone's like, oh, he's always been like that. And Matthew Broderick was like,
what's going on? Like,
the poor and you can he plays it like completely realistically. He is just like begrudgingly go, like, I have to do this, but I've no enthusiasm for it. And he's just sitting there sick and and like his whole family are like looking for an excuse nearly to turn on him, which I found very interesting. It is fucking great, like the whole dynamic. But I love the note of he tells the story, and so obviously on some level he recognizes that that's not how you behave. Like, but he's like, yeah, I'm the lunatic, but he just kind of doesn't care. And then I do love how plausible it is because they played out what's he call it, porno password.
Yeah.
And the way they play it, you're like, yeah, I can kind of see the family being into this and his father being like, come on, she's a grown woman. She can handle it. And Matthew Broderick's like, no, no, don't make me do this. Fucking great stuff. And then that is where Oh yeah, he provokes him. There's this really similar scene actually in Dexter. Do you ever watch that show?
Yes, yeah.
Do you know the guy who's become a meme again, who's always chasing him around? And
it's Braz, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Dokes, Officer Dokes.
Yeah, there's a scene in Dexter where he confronts Dexter in like a hidden office, and Dexter's like, "What are you gonna do?" and like headbutts him. And then he walks out of the room, and of course your man's like all amped up and jumps on him, and it's like, what's your problem, man? And of course, there's the exact same thing happens here when Carey provokes him and he punches him. And is it actually Bob Odenkirk? Me and my brother always love
Bob
Odenkirk. He goes, "What the hell is wrong with you, man?"
yeah. That's Bob Odenkirk of Better Call Saul.
The way
and
he
also
says that is
Mr.
really
Show, who he stars in with David Cross.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because
it's like a sketch show.
That's what's good. I assume he was someone Ben Stiller knew, and you get a nice little moment of that with someone who's not even really in the film, but he gets a little laugh moment. That
I never knew it was Bob Odenkirk, because I'd be obviously a big Breaking Bad fan, and also Better Call Saul, and just to see him in the background there, like
I know he is just a background
because with the character of Saul Goodman. And Jimmy McGill in Better Call Saul. That's where I first discovered Bob Odenkirk, right? So I didn't know his history or anything. So basically his life started with Breaking Bad. Do you know what I mean? So to learn after the fact of all this other stuff that he's done, like, and to see him pop up here, like,
I had heard of him as a comedian because I remembered his name, Odenkirk. It always stuck in my mind. But I'd be hard pressed to say like what stuff of his I've seen. I saw that film Nobody. I still haven't seen Breaking Bad. May God help me.
No, my God.
But I know. Yeah, it's
That's one of them. That's like when someone says they haven't seen Pulp Fiction, and it's like, well, hang on, we're sitting there, we're going to watch it now. That's almost like
it's
that.
On I think it's still on Netflix. I mean to get around to. I have a long plane trip coming up, so maybe that'll be the time. But I can't remember where I think I just always heard his name mentioned, and it's just such an odd name for an Irishman anyway. Odenkirk. Yeah, he's like, "What the hell is wrong with you, man?" That is very funny the way he says it. So then, and again, Carey just plays the innocent man, like the way he's like, "Thank you for a wonderful evening, everyone." He plays it so and it's so believable that they would just think Matthew Broderick's like losing it, you know. Very, very good. And he even goes like, "I forgive you." Yeah. It's just a fucking rub it in.
And I think we're hurtling quite close to the end now, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they have actually, what did you make of, I have a bit of an issue, again, I won't say of an issue, but sorry, he gets fired in the next
That's
bit.
right, yeah.
Which is with the...
Because Carey's recorded him.
Yeah. Now, the next scene that we have...
Actually, that shouldn't be brushed over.
Yeah.
So, because that conversation that he has with Leslie Mann has happened ages ago.
That's right, yeah.
Very early. So he's right from the start.
Yeah, so...
He's expected this... Jim Carrey has expected this to go pear-shaped.
Yeah, he would have planted that, because that's even before he puts in the entertainment system, isn't it? It is, yeah. So he put that in when he did the installation.
Yes. Yeah.
Fuck me, yeah. Jeez, I hadn't really... That is, yeah.
That's dark.
Yeah, that is very dark. Yeah, it's... And
the fact... Because Stephen has the screensaver on his computer throughout the film. It's pointed out throughout the film, and then this time he's somehow hacked the computer and he's changed it.
I don't know. It doesn't actually step out. It's not like a big thing of like, oh, that's completely unrealistic. Like for the time, I remember at the time that seemed plausible, and obviously now you'd be able to do it fucking way easier, which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
I think is the next part. He gets a phone call from Jack Black telling him who he is.
And the Chip Douglas doesn't exist.
Yeah. Now, the other question is, why did Jim Carrey show up with his gaff in the first place? Was he still working for the cable company and he got fired? Because I always took it as he'd kind of hijacked the installation. Do you have a theory on that?
I always thought that, because you see him on the phone via directly into the phone line.
Yeah.
He's intercepting calls.
That's how I took it. He kind of hijacked it. I didn't take it as he got.
I didn't take that he got sacked during the film off camera. I took it as maybe he has his couple of blocks and he knows how to hack the phone line.
That's
so
what
any
I
call
saw
that goes to the cable company goes to him.
That's what I saw. I
he does
didn't think it quite through that way.
He still has the cards, like the customer service cards.
Yeah.
And he mentioned it. He goes, "Does this go to your boss?" And he goes, "No, it goes to me."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love
That's
the way he says that.
line.
This is a comment card. Please fill it in when I am done. The way he says that like that, because it's a spiel he's supposed to say. They think these things through. So then Jack Black brings him up, says, he gives him the information. Now, the next scene is a dream scene, which I think is quite funny and quite good.
It's the Mod Squad.
What is...
Have you ever heard of the Mod Squad?
I know it was a TV show,
Yeah,
and then
so
they
the
made a
music
movie
playing,
out of it,
the
yeah.
music playing is the music of the Mod Squad, and
Okay.
apparently the chase kind of thing is
Okay.
from the opening credits of the Mod Squad.
Okay.
Now that's not something that I'd know. It's just something that I
I
heard.
think
Like,
I was just trying to think like it's a perfectly good scene that I think is funny. I like some of the bits with Carey in it, but I am like, again, to think like purely narratively, what is the purpose of this? Because he's already, I think it is just to build up that kind of fucking head of steam of it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like,
it's successful in that, but
because I mean, this is one of them scenes where, like, because we spoke already about like Chris Farley being chosen. I can't imagine Chris Farley playing this.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, he might have been a bit.
Because there is a
silly,
darkness to this, to the performance of Jim Carrey, even if it is kind of a funny scene.
Yeah.
That like now, I mean, it's added to with lighting and the
contact
lenses that he's wearing.
Yeah.
That it's this is like he's meant to be a monsterish like. But I just can't imagine Chris Farley playing that.
It'd be tough
part of it.
It'd be tough to see. And I just like the bit where he's banging on the cable guy and he goes like "Kabla gula," and I'm like, that's just Jim Carrey coming up with that. And I do love the bit where he's pretending to shrink.
Yeah.
Like, see you, boy. That's very funny. But it is just him kind of chasing him, and then I think he just wakes up and Carey's called him. Yeah. And that is the scene where Carey is like, I can be your best friend, your worst enemy. And I always love the detail of, and how they did it. Maybe it was another CGI thing of the basketball. A little Daddy Longlegs crawls across his face and he doesn't even react.
I never even noticed that.
It's
Matthew
there.
Broderick's?
No, Jim Carrey.
Oh.
Because he's lying prone and a little Daddy Longlegs crawls across and he doesn't even react. Unless I'm maybe that was on the VHS.
Yeah, it's slipping a grain. Yeah.
But no, I remember seeing that. I just went, whoa, how the fuck did they even do that? Like, they'd have to really do it. Unless, again, they could do them fucking basketballs. Like, But that is a scene where he is just threatening him. And again, it just doesn't read as much. Like, I mean, even the scene with his family, it is shot more like objectively, and I'm like, if this had been done completely from Matthew, but like obviously the way we were talking about how much we enjoyed it, and you get his point of view, but I'm like, if they'd just been a little more focused on just the way he sees things, I think the last bit would be more intense. But maybe that's not what they were going for, or maybe they were editing it and they were like, oh fuck me, like this is way
dark.
too much. Which again, if the film wouldn't support that level of darkness, I don't think. But we'll never know. But it's kind of. And again, I am nitpicking, but at the same time, I'm like, well, because it has this reputation of being this, and you go, yeah, well, I could kind of see this or that. Because Broderick's character is a little, like, he's not what you remember from the film. He does a good job and everything, but I think he's a little shortchanged by the film, kind of ultimately. But would you agree with that, or how do you feel?
I would, maybe, because I suppose. Well, I had a point. I was literally. What happened there was I was listening to you, and then I got too interested in what I was going to say back. Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you mean. Broderick.
That's my fault.
Was it before Broderick? I mentioned the thing about Broderick, or
no? What was the thing you said just before Shaw changed?
His point of view, like the dinner scene from his point of view. And
Broderick's point of view.
Dark,
No, 100%. Because I mean, if it is completely the POV of Matthew Broderick's character, I think you're right in that the film overall wouldn't support that kind of level of. I suppose what's the word I'm looking for? Because it's not point of view, but it is point of view. There's a specific word.
Perspective.
Perspective, maybe. Yeah, that level of perspective. I don't think the film would. I think it needs to be more generalized at times.
Yeah, I think it is. What's surprising is it was considered like this out there thing, and it's a very commercial. It's the Hollywood version of the story, which is not a bad thing. Like, it's the Jim Carrey Hollywood version, which is, in the mid-90s was the shit, But I just found it strange how strong the reaction to it was. Like he was doing something really different. Like, he's not really like. But we do get to now. I don't actually have an issue with this.
He kidnaps Leslie Mann.
He kidnaps Leslie Mann, basically. That is very. I was like, is this a parody?
No, but here's an issue I have, right?
Yeah.
Because in this scene, she goes, "I'd like to go home now." So she's gone. She's voluntarily gone with him to this place.
It is a bit all, I think
mean?
maybe on the drive there, but there is a bit. I was like, is this nearly a parody of like this scene? Because Broderick shows up and he's like, do you know where they went? He said something about the information superhighway. Oh, come on. Like,
Yeah.
this does seem like a note from the studio. We need a big ending. You know, there's the Jim Carrey thing. And yeah, I did always notice that. I did just kind of take it as, all right, I'll write the scene in my head where she's gradually getting more and more worried about him, like the mask was slipping or whatever. But this is just basically a big, and it's well done because Ben Stiller's a good director. It is like an action ending, basically.
Yeah. And it's a big, like, I mean, the similar thing happened in Goldeneye, like the big satellite.
He even references that,
Yeah.
The movie Goldeneye. And did you notice actually? There's a really weird cut because she's hanging from a rope. And then there's the version I watched anyway. It just cuts to her not on the rope, and Carrie's like chasing her up.
The ladder, yeah.
There's a weird like. When did that happen? Maybe there was a bit of. I think they called it shoe leather in there, where they were like, we don't need this shit.
Yeah.
But it does just kind of turn into like the interesting element is what happens at the punchline of it. Where it cuts off the
Sam Sweet trial.
That was brilliant. That's really clever.
Because basically, it's essentially holding up a mirror to viewing audiences, viewers of the film, and the audience, how we kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? How we kind of, like, this is real life. Someone's been murdered, and we're sitting there, and we want, like, I touched on it already about, we want the drama of it, and we want this. We don't care about the justice of it. We just want.
Oh, it's the spectacle of it.
Like, and you look at it now, like with true crime docs and like TikTok investigators and all this type of shit.
Your
like,
Netflix things.
Oh man, it's and it was so ahead of its time to get that, and the fact that it cuts off, because that can't happen now. That can't, because I mean, your internet might cut off, but mine's not gonna. Do you know what I mean? That whole collective. Grown. It's impossible to happen now. Like,
it is. I thought it was because I think you spent a lot of the film going, what is the point of that? And then you go, like I said, the first time I watched it, I thought, is that character going to turn out to be Jim Carrey or something? Like, I thought there'd be some mad connection like that. But I don't know. I won't say it's disappointing, but it does just kind of turn into.
Do you know? Now this might be all in my head, but it was something that I read. Right, so this was meant to. I always assumed that his arm was severed. Now, this is because the VHS version that I watched, it just looked that way.
When he's on the...
When he falls and he's on the points, I don't know what you call it, the satellite. It looks, in the VHS version that I would have watched years ago, and it consistently got worse, because you know yourself, if you overdid a VHS back in the day. Like,
they weren't built to last.
And I always assumed his arm was severed, and it freaked the fuck out of me back in the day.
Interesting. Okay, I think your man who told me about the film, I think he referenced the bit with the camera. I think he referenced that where it goes, and you know he's not dead or something, because I remember
originally he was dead. He was to die. And Jim Carrey is not a fan of the ending in its current form that he survived.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so Jim Carrey wanted it almost as an act of redemption. He needed to die.
Yeah, because it does end on a note of, like, it's going to happen again, which you're like, the film did seem a little more humane than
this
that.
This is Kyle Gass, because we've mentioned Jack Black of Tenacious D fame. We must
noted MAGA supporter.
Kyle Gass, he was the second of the double act Tenacious D. But this was very on the nose. The fact that he just picks up the book and immediately starts smiling. Like,
I didn't quite know what to make of that, because I remember the film, as broad as it could be,
he's credited as couch potato.
Right. Yeah, the film isn't that broad. I think, again, we were talking about its support. I don't think the film supports that joke as much as I think it's kind of funny. I remember being confused by it.
But it is getting into the immediate addiction. Do you know what I mean? It is touching on that. Like, just put the telly. It's just not the end of the world that the telly's not on.
Like, well, what's funny, I was watching even the Truman Show last night, and it nearly ends on a similar note where the TV transmission cuts off, and there's a joke in that with the two lads going, "Oh, what else is on?" And I was like, that works. And I thought the joke with Kyle Gass, again, is in the abstract, I kind of like it. I just don't... with the film that it was, I was like, because in the climax scene on the satellite dish, now this was the moment that Carey had not done up to then. He has just basically a serious drama moment where he thinks he's talking to his mother. Like, you could say it's a little cliched. But it is a serious scene of him, like, dealing with shit that he never dealt with and how shitty his upbringing was. Like, it was a serious kind of acting moment and all this. And when they kind of then go into like, oh, this guy's going to pick up a book for the first time in years, like, I'm like, I'd
But
hope.
it happens to be right next to his seat,
I
and
know,
also
yeah.
on the perfect page.
It was
That's
do
gonna
you know what the perfect joke?
It's a bit
like,
on the nose, like.
Yeah, I referenced it earlier, but the bit where Andy Dick is like, preferred customer, my ass. I'm like, that
works.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
The Kyle
And
Gass
especially with the heavy emotional scene that's going on at
Yeah.
the satellite. For Andy Dick to just pull off his
that
thing,
was
it's very funny.
yeah.
Like.
Well, and the other thing I took was, and again rewatching it, I realized I was wrong, but I always just took his line before he lets go of someone has to kill the babysitter. When I was younger, I just took that as him saying some random thing from a movie.
Was that one that rocks the cradle, isn't it? Or the hand that
I
rocks the
think
cradle?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
I always just took it as him saying something random because that was what happened in the movie. If you watch it, he is doing that. But he is also, and I'm so fucking thick because I think his mother in the flashback says, sit there with Mr. Babysitter, which is the television. He is intentionally trying to kill television at that moment, which I found... I don't actually know how I feel about it. I think I nearly preferred the version where he just says something random.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it'd be the equivalent of like him saying...
It's almost getting too full of itself in
it's
terms
like,
of its narrative.
It's like they did a joke with that in Family Guy once where Peter shoots someone and he goes like, it's just been revoked, like from Lethal Weapon 2. And like, that's... I think that kind of fit the character a bit more. Cause when I saw this one, I didn't like it as much. Basically, I was like, I kind of wish it was just like he's just a superb. Like, he just realized this is who I am. Like, this is why I've got to go.
Yeah.
Whereas if he's like, no, I'm going to take out television. I'm like, no. When did that happen?
But so I kind of got the feeling that he's going to take out television, but he's also going to take out himself. Yeah, that both can be true. Like
there is both, yeah. But I just what's his beef with television? He's never renounced television.
No,
like,
he hasn't.
yeah,
But
even in that monologue.
But if you look at the television and the kind of media addiction is the running plot line throughout, and it's the whole Sam Sweet thing and everything.
Yeah.
So it is there, whether it's consciously by the character acknowledged or whatever. It is there throughout.
True,
like,
yeah. It just. Yeah. When I just thought it was something random he said, I liked it a lot more, to be honest. Maybe I just don't want. Maybe I'm like fucking. I don't want messages in my movie, man. It's popcorn and shit. I do like though where it cuts back and he's immediately back to his old persona when he's alive, and he's like 202 possible back injury. We're gonna have this. Like that's.
And then he saved, and then the helicopter shows up, and all is good. And I do think this is because it is. You could argue it's a bit on the nose or whatever, but when he goes, "It's all right, buddy. You're gonna make it, pal." Or maybe he says the opposite way around. But he goes, well, I'm your buddy.
Yeah.
And, and he goes, what's your name? And he gives him a different name. Ricky.
I think he just starts smiling.
No,
or
it's
something,
Ricky. Ricky Ricardo.
Yes, he does say that. Yeah. And then he starts smiling. Again, I think that fits well enough, but I do think the film had given him... I just thought it was a little cheap for the film to go out that way. Whereas I thought it, as I say, a moment ago, I'm like, what's this message shit? But I was like, I wish they kind of set it out on a different note.
But
again,
or something. Like, who knows at what point it was changed from he dies to... This could have been well into production. Like,
I am just wondering, like, was the ending just... if he died, was the ending just... Andy Dick going, prefer customer on my ass, cut to black? Like, was that it? That would have been brilliant. That would have been interesting.
I think that would have been fantastic. Yeah. That would have been almost like The Sopranos. Like, what happened? What's going on? Like,
or would they? What would have been?
That would have actually created, because you see what's created when he obviously the verdict of the trial cuts off, and everybody's like this. If you're watching this film in the cinema or at home on TV, everybody will go, "What is that to happen? Is this over?"
Yeah, that would have been. It
would have created exactly what it was portraying in the film.
I don't think the executives would have gone for it, but it would have been pretty interesting. All right, yeah. I think that is the ending of the Truman Show. Is that those guys going? What else is on? I want to say that's the end of it, but there's been a more emotional kind of build up to that.
Yeah.
Great film, that Truman Show. Right?
So I think that's pretty much
that's kind of the sign off in it. Yeah. An underrated film. I don't think it's.
I think I don't know how
classic. I don't
see how I don't understand how underrated it is, because I know critically and maybe financially at its original box office run, it's underperformed compared to the rest of his films. But I don't know anybody who hasn't seen this film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. Well, he was such. It is impossible. Anyone who's not close to our age, he was such the. It was like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They
in the 80s,
the fucking men in the 80s and 90s. You have no idea. Like, you would just watch a movie because they were in it. I remember watching some of his pre-Ace Ventura movies and just being like, when is he going to show up again? More Jim Carrey, more. Because you just wanted to see them do their thing. And that is a bit lost nowadays, I would say. There's not really anyone, even like a legacy star that kind of does that, I can't think of. Unless you want to see Harrison Ford play Indiana Jones and for
At
the
90.
millionth time, yeah.
So non-submersible units.
Well, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I think the medieval time scene, I think that's the most remembered part of it. Am I wrong about that? Or
For me,
in terms
no.
of a scene?
For me, if I have to pick a scene, I'd say yes.
Yeah.
But for me, from what I took away from it, even back in the day, even though I didn't fully understand what it was getting at, the thing I never forgot was the Sam Sweet trial.
Interesting.
And because I obviously didn't fully understand the whole context and what it was trying to get at by media addiction and the kind of the media controls the narrative and all this type of stuff.
Interesting.
I never got that until watching it fairly recently, but it's something that I never forget because it always kind of freaked me out. Because do you know what always stuck to me? Because I remember watching this very young, and it'd be like when he's crying, he's making, and it's very funny because it's, oh, my kid brother's been shot and he was Asian.
Oh, yeah. That is funny, yeah.
But it's funny now, but I remember listening to that and hearing him crying and being really like, oh my God,
I was just old enough, I took that as
I got
like
freaked
funny,
out. Because I didn't know why he was
sure there was Asians.
and he was Asian and he took off his thing and he was Asian.
Yeah.
And then because seeing it now and then seeing Ben Stiller on the stand and he's like, oh
he's
no,
like, oh Jesus, that is very good. Yeah, actually,
that's my non-submersible. I've never not forgot that.
Interesting. Yeah, I just wanted to slightly go back. So the scene where Carey is talking to the helicopter, but he thinks his mother. He does have a scene or two in Dumb and Dumber where he is legit. There's a scene you remember with Jeff Daniels at the start where he's like talking about how sick he is of his life, and he goes, and the punchline is, "I'm sick and tired of having nobody." There's no joke in that moment. That is him doing a serious thing. So for all the fucking nitpickers on TikTok, fair enough. I mentioned another scene where he did a serious dramatic, and that's why that film is great, because it does have a genuine heart to it. Yeah. Whereas this is getting at something. I don't know that this film has much heart to it, but it is.
It's definitely saying something. Yeah. But see, the thing is, this could be borderline too on the nose, because I'm reminded of what's his name? He did Anchorman, Step Brothers, and
Will Ferrell.
No, director Steve McKay.
Yes,
Adam McKay. So if you look at The Big Short,
he disappeared up his own hole.
So if you look at The Big Short, right, and even Voice, the reason they work is because they are getting at something, and it's quite overt what they're getting at, but it's done ironically. It's like, can you believe this actually happened? Ha ha ha. But it's actually getting at, this actually happened, and we should all be up in arms over it. And then you go to Don't Look Up, and it's very much where he disappeared up his own, because it's like, he wasn't ironic. It was completely unironic. Don't Look Up.
It was very
whereas Voice and The Big Short were. Whereas this borderline could have been, because this is ironically poking fun at media and everything.
Yeah, they just think it's kind of funny.
Whereas this could easily tip over into, all right, you're trying to force feed me something and I don't like it.
Well, it's not
which Ben Stiller does it well. Like,
yeah, it's not taking a like us or them kind of a thing. It is taking like aren't we all into this? Like it never judges you for finding the Sam Sweet thing interesting. It does present it as satirically, but it is like, yeah, we'd all fucking watch that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like mocking you for being interested at the same time.
I do think it is kind of laughing at you. It's kind of, well,
I think it's
laughing at you.
I think it's kind of with us, if you know what I mean. I don't know how I got this vibe. This is the vibe I get. It's the film's like, yeah, isn't it funny when we do this, as opposed to, I think sometimes you're like, hey, look at these idiots over here. And you're like, depends who the idiots are, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
But in this case, it would have been a bit too much.
Now, right.
I give it a 4.
4. I'm solid 4 as well.
4, yeah.
For multiple reasons. Performance is very well written.
Yeah.
Extremely. It's Carey and Broderick probably at their best.
Yeah, very well directed. Very good. As much as I was critiquing some of it, like it could have been done X, Y, or Z way.
Benson is a very strong director.
He is a good director.
Very strong director.
For the film that we ended up with, he directed it appropriately. If you want to come at it like, the script.
And even though you can probably tell that it's bits and pieces of studio interference, but it's so well handled that it's very hard to notice. Do you know what I mean? Where and what they are.
Like I was saying about the ending, but the ending doesn't feel like tacked on because they're gone back to a location where they were before and all this. It
Chekhov's satellite.
It is, yeah. It is a touch like a studio. No, we need a big ending to this.
Yeah.
That's actually, I think I brought this up in another episode, but if you watch a lot of comedies from back in the day, they would have like these set piece endings. And I think it's because the attitude was, well, why the fuck are you going to the cinema to watch this? Come on, give them like a show. And I think nowadays I don't watch too many of them, but like comedies tend to like peter out. Like the only one I remember that I saw in the cinema was the Sydney Sweeney fucking Glenn Powell one. And I don't even remember how that ends, like, because they don't have there is no set piece at the end because it's like, now they wanted that to be a cinema film and all this, but I don't remember there being much in the way of that, which is maybe a good thing. I have to rewatch that film. I did kind of like it. But I just thought if you watch a lot of these old comedies, there is like, you know, there's a subplot or something. There's like in Dumb and Dumber, there's like a crime movie and all this. Yeah. So there is like
it's arguably a genre film, Dumb and Dumber, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Arguably,
for a lot
like,
of it,
you know what I mean?
they like the whole you know, road trip match, kind of a crime thing. But we digress. We can talk about that another time.
I think that
folks.
brings us to an end of another episode.
What do you think of the Cable Guy, guys? Is there anyone who doesn't like this? I'd be the same way. I don't know anyone who doesn't.
I've never met anybody.
I've read a lot of reviews that didn't like it.
Yeah, but see, the reviews are like fucking arseholes. Like, do you know what I mean?
Although on Rotten Tomatoes, it only has a 50% audience score. It's 7 on Metacritic, which is about where I would think it should be. But I found that very low on Rotten Tomatoes.
But sound off in the comments. Let us know. What do you think of the Cable Guy? I think
is it his best or what is it, Jim? What do you think Jim Carrey's best?
Best role?
Yeah, or just the best movie
That's like asking me favourite film or something like ever.
Best
like
Jim Carrey. I'd be hard pressed to pick one as well. Actually.
I think The Mask for me. The Mask is like because everybody loves Ace Ventura. When it comes to like, I'd have Lawyer ahead of it. I
remember seeing.
I love that. I love Lawyer.
I'd probably say Dumb and Dumber. I would go Dumb and
Dumber as well. Yeah. It'd be one of those three: Lawyer. The Mask or Dumb and Dumber.
I'd have Me, Myself and Irene very high.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I love Me, Myself and Irene. That's great. And I don't know that he's done some stuff after that I thought was grand.
Dr. Robotnik and Sonic can't be passed up. Like,
I
you know
still
what I mean?
haven't seen those.
He's very good in it.
Mr. Popper's
But he keeps
Penguins.
retiring and he only keeps coming back for Sonic. Like,
I know, yeah. He was quite funny in Kick-Ass too, even though that film
he didn't like that at all.
I think he said something like that it ended up glorifying violence. And to be honest, the older I get, the more I'm still like, come on, man. But I am like, he kind of does have a fucking point. But we'll talk about that in the politics corner on the next episode. Thank you very much, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe.
All that shit,
all that good stuff.
All right, cheers. See
you
you later.
Right.
Bye bye.
The Dubliner Sky.